Hello and welcome. I'm Sarah Ford, Marketing Director at America's Charities. On this webinar today, we're going to dig in with the Giving Block's co-founder, Pat Duffy, and learn about how to diversify your nonprofit's revenue with cryptocurrency donations. At America's Charities, our work at the nexus of charities, employers, and employee donors helps provide nonprofits with a reliable source of unrestricted funding all year round. Through the 300 business partners we work with across the private and public sectors, we reach 13.5 million US and international employees each year, empowering them to support each other in the causes they care about through workplace giving, matching gift campaigns, volunteering, and employee assistance funds. We're on track to raise $1 billion for worthy causes by 2026, and you can learn more about our work in our nonprofit membership program on our website at www.charities.org. Beyond workplace giving, we're always looking for ways to bring more money and resources to nonprofits. And a relatively new way to do that is with cryptocurrency. And that's why I'm happy to introduce you to today's guest speaker, Pat Duffy. Pat co-founded the Giving Block to help more nonprofits accept tax-incentivized crypto donations from cryptocurrency users around the world. More than 60% of cryptocurrency users are under the age of 40. In December 2020, the Giving Block facilitated a record $2.1 million in cryptocurrency donations to nonprofits, with even more growth expected this year. To help you understand how to tap into this growing pool of donors, Pat's going to explain how cryptocurrency donations work and share how the Giving Block team makes it easy for nonprofits to accept cryptocurrency donations. If you have any questions during this presentation, we invite you to click that little Q&A icon on your screen, enter your question, and at the end of this presentation, we'll do our best to answer as many questions as time permits. And with that, I'll hand it over to you, Pat.
All right, thanks, Sarah. Hi to everyone who's on the webinar. We did a little bit of the introduction, but I'm Pat Duffy. I'm co-founder of the Giving Block. What the Giving Block does is fairly straightforward. We do two things primarily. One, set up charities to take crypto donations. We have kind of a full service technical setup we can get into. And then the second piece is fundraising. We wanted to take a little bit of a different approach. So you can see some of the groups up here. We work with about 150 charities, faith-based groups, universities, et cetera. We get them set up to take crypto. And then a big piece of what we do is fundraising campaigns. Setting them up to be successful, integrating with their existing campaigns, and pretty much one, making sure that the donors in your audience know you take crypto, and then two, getting in front of crypto users where they are. So we take a little bit more of an active approach to bringing the two worlds together, crypto users and nonprofits specifically. And then on the right side of the screen, Alex Wilson is my co-founder, and then we've got Maria, who goes by Masha, and we've got Michael Early. They're a couple of our co-pilots as well. Okay, so two things even before we just dive into the slide. One, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please drop those in the chat, and we'll of course get to them throughout, and then hit the remainder at the end. And then second, if you have any questions about the technical pieces, you can always shoot us a note, info@thegivingblock.com, or go to our site and book a demo to see the tech. In terms of what cryptocurrency is, from a fundamental technology standpoint, it's a lot less complicated than I think nonprofits think it is, or even people outside of the ecosystem. The main thing that cryptocurrency did was make it, one, impossible for governments to print it. It was just a version of money that was printed using code that is set along a preset timeline versus arbitrarily printed at will. And then the second piece is it made it impossible to manipulate transaction records. So rather than having banks or institutions resolving whether or not an account balance has gone up or down, it's a preset code that originally developers could agree to, and now average people can agree to, where any transaction that has ever happened on the Bitcoin blockchain or any of these other cryptocurrencies is on what's called an immutable ledger, and that's blockchain. So again, one, they can't print it, so there's a scarcity aspect, kind of like gold. And then two, it's immutable transaction, so no one can alter transaction records. So it's kind of a modern form of money for modern people. And then going along these bullets here, one, payments clear in seconds, of course, because you don't have all of the middlemen. It's disintermediated, the need for banks. Payments can clear much faster. Two, it cannot be counterfeited, in addition to the fact that you can't print or make more of it. someone then along that same note can't manufacture a fake version. Each one has its own unique identifier. Fixed supply we touched on. International is important, again, not associated with one jurisdiction. And lastly, peer-to-peer. So in addition to not needing a bank to say reconcile the transactions, two people can send one another Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency without the need for any intermediary. And you can know because of that code that it's going to get where it's going. So from a technology standpoint, what you kind of need to know about crypto and when people buy it is they're placing a bet on whether or not this will be maybe not the future of money in general, but a much more common version of money that people will be using moving forward. Next one, thank you. Why do people donate crypto? I'm sure some of the folks who are on the webinar have heard us go on this, if you've heard us talk before. But the main thing here is it's a property asset. So cryptocurrency is the same thing in the eyes of the IRS as stocks, as a house, as a car, any asset you can put money into and speculate on the price. It can go up or down. So as a result, it's different than a currency treatment. You're not only getting a write-off when you donate to a charity, you're offsetting your capital gains taxes. A really simple example, you can kind of see it on the screen there, but to walk through what it would look like in real life. Let's say you're an individual and you want to donate $1 million to a charitable organization. And what you have is $1 million in Bitcoin and then $1 million in US dollars sitting in the bank. You've really got two options. You can either A, donate the $1 million that you have in the bank to the charity, and then on that $1 million you have in Bitcoin, you'll carry forward your tax burden. In other words, when you sell that Bitcoin, eventually it'll be worth, in reality, say somewhere between $700,000 and $800,000 after you pay your capital gains taxes. So again, you donate the $1 million in cash and you end up with about $800 in post-tax value of your $1 million in Bitcoin. Or B, in the same way as if you donated stocks, you could donate the cryptocurrency through us to a charity. The charity gets the full $1 million, and as a 501c3, they don't owe capital gains tax. You as the donor don't owe capital gains tax on the asset that you transfer to the charity. And then you can even immediately take the $1 million you had in the bank, buy $1 million of new Bitcoin, and you end up with the same $1 million in Bitcoin like you had donated cash, but you just erased about a $200,000, let's say, tax burden, depending on your cost basis when you bought it. So the incentive to donate crypto is really, really high. And then we go down these fast facts on the right to see why that matters based on the user base. About half of millennials and Gen Zs already have crypto, and that number is rising quite quickly. What that means is the average crypto user is under the age of 40. And right now there's about 106 million of them. It's about 2.5 times more crypto users than people on Venmo, for instance. So it's a quickly rising financial user base. The second piece here is the wealth transfer, of course, that charities talk about from the baby boomer generation to Gen Zs and millennials. There's about $68 trillion or so being transferred. If 50% of millennials and Gen Zs, let's say it's 75% over the next decade or so, are invested in cryptocurrency, the market cap goes up. And then the amount of people who are invested in cryptocurrency in the same way as stocks, very similar. Third bullet, because it is property asset like stocks, you have that hyper incentivization around donating it directly to charities. Because it's very easy to donate crypto versus stocks, it's also more incentivized. And then lastly, all of those things align into what you would expect. There's tens of millions of people this year who at the end of this tax year will be most incentivized to donate crypto instead of some other property asset or a credit card, whatever it might be. They will get the best bang for their buck by donating crypto. It's what's best for their bottom line. So we're seeing in the short term is really a donor land grab. So we're seeing charities establish giving relationships with individuals who have crypto, getting crypto donations in the short term, but also, figuring out wills and bequests, turning them into major donors, getting corporate partnerships, kind of building out their brand in the ecosystem and building up their base of crypto donors. And then the last kind of big piece here, this last bullet on the slide is super important to note. In addition to the ability to kind of land grab and gain access to new donors, especially young millennial and Gen Z donors, it's a really good foot in the door and a way to establish that relationship. There are people losing relationships, nonprofits, because their donors are getting into crypto. And again, let's say one of your donors is a major gifts person. They end up wanting to make $1 million donation to charity for good reasons and tax purposes alike. The charities that don't take crypto would offer that person no ability to offset the, say, $200,000 in tax incentives we discussed at the beginning. So long story short, for major donor prospects who own cryptocurrency, that being now millions of people, any charity who doesn't take it is off the menu. Okay, how to accept crypto donations. Significantly simpler than I think charities think it is. We've built out the tech. We compare it very similar to, say, if you were trying to build a Wi-Fi router or getting set up with Comcast or Verizon. There are companies that do it now, make it quite simple, i.e. the Giving Block. But the baseline thing we do here is we set you up to take crypto. What that account looks like is ultimately, we have a partnership with Gemini. It's a cryptocurrency exchange, very similar to like you could call them like the Fidelity of crypto. They're very institutional focused. They're operating out of New York, banking license, SOC 1, SOC 2 compliant, cash balances, FDIC insured all the way down the line. We set you up with a charity specific account that goes through us as kind of their nonprofit arm. And then the second piece, once you have that account, is we've got a series of codes that we wrote, and then a series of settings we've built out with Gemini that allow, one, the cryptocurrency to be automatically converted to US dollars, two, to automatically generate tax receipts for your donors that pull that transaction info, and then three, finally, that a widget that makes it really easy for people to give and allow for those automations that gets pasted on your site and pasted on ours, which takes us to the second bullet. The widget's really simple. We can click through it if we want to at the end, but it's just you select the crypto you want to give, the amount you want to give, you share your information, you send the transaction. That's a piece of tech that we've developed. It's an iframe code, so you can copy and paste on your site, same as embedding a YouTube video. That's really it. Someone shows up, they want to give crypto, they can do so in a matter of seconds. Third bullet here, from bottom to top, create a profile on our platform. About 80% of crypto donations that we're processing are coming through our site versus the charity site. Super important. Part of this paradigm shift we talked about in the land grab for crypto donors is a shift that we're seeing in young donors in general. They're starting with mode of donation and ending with charity selection. So the reason a site like ours would generate 80% of the volume is because people aren't looking at a charity trying to give and then opting into the crypto option on the fly during like a capital campaign that you're conducting on social. It's really they're going online to donate crypto for tax reasons. That's going to be the way they're going to support charities. And then they find the charities that take cryptocurrency and they pick one of those lists or one from that list. Our platform is what services that. So anyway, we put a copy of your widget on our platform, a profile, your logo, information about you, and charities, or rather donors, can give through our site or go over to yours. And then lastly, actively pulling in crypto donors. About half of our legwork is integrations with cryptocurrency exchanges, partnerships with the apps where you check crypto prices or manage your crypto portfolio, crypto tax software companies, crypto news outlets, key opinion leaders, influencers. Anywhere there's a pool of crypto users hanging out or accessing software or managing their funds, we're either actively integrating with those platforms or we are running ads, partnering with them on events, getting match dollars, et cetera. Those user bases are part of what gets funneled into our clients. And that would be, that's it for the core services portion. Okay. On the how to fundraise crypto piece, again, it looks a little more complicated, but it's relatively simple once you have it set up. We can start from the crypto users on the right, and I'll work from right to left. There are crypto users that are out and about. They hold cryptocurrency assets. There's about $1.5 trillion in crypto currently. For context, there's about $400 billion donated to charities annually. That's universities, that's faith-based groups and religions, that's charities in general. So the cryptocurrency ecosystem is rather large. A lot of these folks are still learning about these tax incentives. They're donating crypto for the first time. They just got into it in the last year or 2 years, whatever it might be. Just accumulating long-term cap gains as they go to exit a position. This piece is a piece that we handle rather than the charities, but this is the partnerships and integration piece that I discussed. So we're really keen on being sort of what we call an omni DAF, which is that in the same way that Fidelity Charitable and Schwab and everybody kind of has a DAF where they allow their users to really easily donate stocks to charities. We're doing that in all the places that crypto is used. So one, that's great for donation volume for our clients, of course, specifically. But two, it's really good for kind of educating, growing this base of crypto donors, which is emerging as a larger ecosystem. And then next, this middle slice, there are our donors. There are people who have been donating crypto through our platform for a while. We're proud to say that through a lot of copy generation, interviews, conversations like this, blog posts, video content, campaigns we run, we've built an ecosystem on our site that people are coming to donate crypto. So another really big part of our value prop and something we're proud of is the fact that we get a lot of crypto user traffic coming through our site. And these are people showing up with the explicit intention of donating crypto. And then again, selecting a charity second. And then the final piece here, the core piece of the puzzle is your donors. So outside of these people who are using crypto, you're trying to pull in for the first time. It's super important that each of our charities who get set up to take crypto, we want to make sure that you're not missing any of the low-hanging fruit. So we do things like help you add that, the fact that you take crypto to like a newsletter, put it out in a blog post, message around your capital campaigns, integrate it into your messaging end of year. These are things that we're really keen on. We want to make sure that within the first 12 months of you getting set up to take crypto, any of your existing donors or people you touch across your major social platforms are at least aware of the fact that you take crypto. So as they go to establish that giving relationship, they donate to you. And then two, if they are existing donors who are giving US dollars, they'll probably give more if you get them to switch over to crypto to offset cap gains. So the conversion of them into major donors through a blend of kind of search engine optimization, having a blog post on your site about the fact that you take crypto to pull people offline that are searching something related to crypto in your mission, and then kind of a blended social approach. Nothing big and in your face about crypto, just, hey, here's us, here's what we do. By the way, we take crypto. So if you have that, please donate. Those are kind of like from the outside in, the layered approach that we take to fundraising. Okay. And now I'm sure we'll have some questions from the folks and we can get into the meat and potatoes.
Thank you so much, Pat. I think when it comes to accepting crypto for nonprofits, it's kind of like a couple decades ago when credit card was new. Believe it, it's hard to think beyond, a time when credit cards weren't normal, but it's really kind of how I think of it. Before that was a normal way of accepting donations. And I can't imagine not accepting credit card donations now for fundraising purposes. So just to let our members on here who are joining us today know, we formed a partnership with the Giving Block, and they've generously offered to give our members a 10% discount on the Giving Block's donation solution for the first year subscription fee. So definitely, take advantage of that. And you can learn more about the Giving Block on our website. And we'll be posting a recording of this webinar there as well afterwards today. But let's dive in and see what kind of questions we have. Go ahead, if you haven't already, submit your question using that Q&A icon at the bottom of the screen. We have one that came in. Here we go. Here's one for you, Pat. Do some organizations run into situations where their donors are unhappy that the organization is accepting crypto?
No, we haven't had that happen in particular. I mean, unless your demographic that you're serving is like banks or something specifically. I don't know of a donor base that would be unhappy with crypto in particular. I guess the one area, but this is more of like an old school thing. It doesn't really happen anymore. Rainforest Foundation, a bunch of other ecology groups fundraise really successfully on our platform. But back in the day, there was a misconception about how much energy Bitcoin in particular used. It uses what's called proof of work. So it requires a bunch of energy to process the transactions using what's called mining. People said that was bad for the environment, but that was quickly debunked because it's Bitcoin versus the existing banking infrastructure. So you can think about kind of the skyscrapers that banks have and all of their office buildings and driving to and from work. Just having the code running in the background is obviously less energy intensive than the banking infrastructure. I don't know of people who really bring that up anymore. That was like a 1 month period, I'd say, in 2018, though.
Okay. Great. Any other questions?
I guess one question I think we got earlier that's worth getting into also is like fundraising outcomes, of course, which nonprofits are curious about. Last year, the average amount raised on our platform was $30,000 per organization, which we think is great because we have a lot of small and mid-sized groups. For the really small groups, we had a couple who were making, we had two that are making more than half their budget on it, but I wouldn't say that's like a baseline expectation. What's good to note about all of those organizations is we only have a handful that are really kind of going all in on crypto, kind of marketing and content generation. And those are usually groups who've already gotten, 6-figure donations or like a 7-figure donation. We have one group that's obviously very keen just because they got a $1.2 million gift. For the most part, it's just through one tax season messaging. So we'll be starting that in a couple weeks, March 15th to April 15th, just kind of alerting donors while they think about their taxes to make that donation end of year. It's more informational than anything. And then 2, an active participation in our end of year fundraising, which you can also use on stocks or other property gifts, really kind of reminding folks you can donate property assets to offset a bigger burden. The charities who are really active, kind of those 2 periods, do quite well. But yeah, all throughout the year, month over month, we get donations, but those are kind of peak seasons for nonprofit effort and messaging. Any other time, it's kind of like a weekly tweet where they say, hey, we take crypto, and that's pretty much it.
All right, we've got some more questions flying in now. Back to promoting, while we're kind of on that topic already. I know the Giving blog has all sorts of resources to help promote a nonprofit, their ability to accept crypto donations. Can you kind of talk us through more of what your team has in the pipeline to help these nonprofits in promoting crypto?
Yeah, 100%. I see we also have stuff coming in. There's like a Q&A section and a chat. Some people are posting both. So we've got some in the Q&A.
Yeah.
In terms of promotion, it's really important to note, like that first question from Jennifer kind of makes this clear. Do organizations run in situations where donors are unhappy? I'm sure if you went off about crypto and I think people think about nonprofit crypto fundraising like your crazy friend who talks about Bitcoin constantly, and it's incredibly annoying and overwhelming. It's the only thing you hear about. That's not the approach. In terms of resources and the way that we do it, one is our platform. We get a lot of traffic coming through our site. These are people who use crypto and are just there to donate crypto. So there you obviously don't have to worry. Your message to them is, hey, we take crypto and here's what we do. It's a really simple sell. It doesn't need to be over the top. The second piece is your donation page. It's a donate crypto page. In addition to, we recommend adding it to your donation page. If you can't add it to your donation page, have a link from your donation page to other ways to give. That's not a recommendation just for us, but if you take stocks and anything else, make sure that people can find that. It needs to be intuitive. People will click that donate button, not see stocks or crypto, and they'll just leave. About half of donors leave without donating when they're on your site with the sole intention of donating. A lot of that is due to process. So we just analyze that, make sure you have that set up the right way. Third is search engine optimization. On the page where you're taking crypto, we have written by an actual SEO firm the copy that you need to pull people in off of search. So it mentions the fact that you take crypto, the tax incentives, the cryptocurrencies you take. It's got a backlink to our FAQ section for a deep dive on some of the tax info for your donor. It's a really good funnel for folks who show up there to see it. And then kind of finally is the marketing toolkits we provide. One is if you have an awareness month, you're running a gala, you want to add it to your newsletter, we're constantly a resource and we'll teach you how to not spell cryptocurrency as 2 words or things that would scare people away. And then finally, we run our own campaigns. So it's not just piggybacking onto stuff out there. We invented something called Bitcoin Tuesday, which is the official community campaign via the Giving Tuesday Foundation on Giving Tuesday each year. Bitcoin Tuesday is all of the crypto fundraising charities. We run that campaign with partners and media and all the like. And then throughout the month of December, we do kind of a month-long awareness campaign, keeping the drumbeat going and pulling donors in. and then a little bit on tax season also. But for the most part, it's one, getting you set up to take crypto, two, making sure that your funnel and your page on our platform is effective, and then three, questions that you have about your regular fundraising. We just help you integrate crypto in a really light touch way.
Got a couple questions related to conversion. How does the cryptocurrency get converted to USD for organizations? Does that all happen on your end, or how does that process work? Let's see, another one was along the lines of, how does this work as far as international nonprofits are concerned? Can someone donate to an African charity abroad, and what might be different in that experience?
Yeah, sorry, hold on one second. Sorry, I had a weird setting thing going on. One, the auto conversion, how it works is pretty much, again, kind of think about it like Gemini's Fidelity in this case, but with crypto instead of stocks. If you had a Fidelity account through a brokerage, stocks is definitely messier and significantly more difficult. But imagine someone could virtually send you their stocks very easily in the same way that you could send a Venmo payment or a crypto payment. We pretty much set you up with a Gemini account that's in your nonprofit's name, and then our widget uses API keys to allow wallets to display that they can transfer cryptocurrency to. They directly send their cryptocurrency from any wallet or exchange that's completely agnostic to you. That cryptocurrency hits your account. And then what will happen is, in the same ways, if you logged into the account, you found a Bitcoin balance, and then you just sold it on the open market for the going rate, like you were selling your stocks. We just do that with an automated program. So it just knows when you have a crypto balance and then initiates that transaction. So when you log in, you just have an FDIC insured cash balance like you had sold a stock. And then, sorry, you had a second question.
Yes, a lot of questions on here about subscriptions. How does the fee structure work? If they want to get started today with you, they're going to have to pull in their leadership and get them on board with this. And we all know that goes back to the cost. So can you walk us through a little bit about how your fee structure works? And, is there a fee taken out of these crypto donations? Anything like that?
Yeah. So our fee structure, it depends on your nonprofit and what your needs are. Like we have like more basic services and then more premium services. We'd have to figure out which you need in terms of like the actual subscription. So again, if you go to thegiveblock.com and book a demo, we can do it that way. You can shoot me an email and I can like send you different backgrounds. We can figure out what your needs are and then put it together. Generally speaking, though, like the most that a nonprofit spends with us per year is $5,000. And then we, of course, have the discount through America's Charities.
Okay.
And then in terms of fees on the donations, yes, we in combination with us, the exchange, like all the fees bundled, it's 5%. So there's no additional donation fees on top of that. That's every factor.
Now, this is kind of a rare situation going back to that, back in 2018, in the early days. But there are times, and there are some nonprofits who don't want to accept donations from certain donors.
Mhm.
Is this, is that something that happens? Is there a way to reject a donation from somebody you don't want to receive a crypto donation from?
Yeah. So like for context also on us, like we support about 99% of the charities taking crypto use us. Pretty much just absorb them in from everything. So most of the charities that have been taking crypto for a while are on our platform now. And like all of that experience has informed our approach. The best way to explain it is almost like Tesla autopilot, where people, it sounds like a kind of negative approach, but when the video came out of a Tesla hitting a pedestrian on a bicycle, everyone was like, we should stop making Teslas. And my take would be, shouldn't we figure out if Teslas make that dramatically less likely or more likely? Kind of with any new technology, there's more fear associated with it, but like it's good to look at the numbers. So cryptocurrency is very much the same way. Every year they put out reports on this. They use coin tracking. There's market surveillance. They use the same market surveillance as NASDAQ or any other financial system. And it's about 10 times less likely to commit fraud or do anything illegal with cryptocurrency just because it's so highly traceable. So the short answer is like, no, cryptocurrency is not entirely safe. Like you could get money from someone who's a criminal or something similar, but it's about 10 times less likely than traditional payments for that to happen. And it's significantly easier to refund it. So I guess a better way of putting it is like if crypto is too scary to take, then you can't take anything because it's far and away the safest form of money.
Okay. Just a couple more questions, Nate. I think we'll close this up for today. How does the volatility of crypto valuations impact the donations, and what do nonprofits need to pay attention to?
Yeah, if you use us, it doesn't. We have auto conversion. Pretty much everything from compliance questions to how you integrate it, to how you fundraise it, to the conversion to US dollars, or if you don't convert it, you have an endowment, how to manage that. High interest earning accounts in the crypto space, tax receipting and reconciliation, accounting, all of that stuff is what we solve for. That's kind of what we're here for. The volatility of it going to you doesn't really affect you in any negative way. The volatility is kind of why there are so many donors. So there are more crypto donors than stock donors, for instance, even though there's more money in stocks, of course. That's because it is so actively traded in a more volatile market. That volatility means bigger gains. Bigger gains means bigger tax burdens to offset and a greater incentive to donate crypto versus any other payment method.
And final question, you've been talking a lot about the incentives, the tax incentives. What things are important for those donating crypto? Is tax incentive really the top thing, or what else might drive their giving decisions?
Yeah, luckily I'm sure this doesn't live past 2021, so it'll transform as we get more kind of regular adoption. But for the time being, a fun part of taking crypto is the fact that you take crypto is enough to be exciting. So because there's only realistically, there's a couple hundred nonprofits that are fighting for the headspace of different donors. So the fact that you're a nonprofit, you're taking crypto and you're getting in front of them and accepting their tech, like they think that's cool. And we get what we call high five donations, which is like, hey, you take crypto, that's awesome. Here's some crypto. That's still like a big chunk of the market, which is fun. And it's as much a donor demographic as it is a payment method, which is important to note. But yeah, long-term, it's definitely going to be the payment incentive. Think about if you show up to a nonprofit donation form in the future, what it'll probably look like is you could select between something like crypto or a credit card. And when you select the credit card option, that little percentage of additional tax savings that you have erases from the interface. And it's like, are you sure you want to do that instead of this thing that's just as fast and saves you more money? As interfaces and the ecosystem adapts to it, and millions more people get into crypto, it's just going to be the way that the people give because it's so hyper incentivized.
Well, thank you, Pat. Really, really great information here. This is exciting. I think a lot of potential for nonprofits to really, as we're here to talk about, diversify their revenue streams. Thank you, everyone else, for the great questions today. As I said before, we will be placing a recording of this on America's Charities website later today, so go ahead and check back there soon. We'll also go ahead and send an email out to you once it's available. Thank you all again, and have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.